So before the video starts, I want to put out a disclaimer. I did record this last night, and this morning the Knicks ended up trading picks 38 and 27 to move up to 23 with the Utah Jazz. I obviously didn't know this when I was recording this mock draft, and I knew something like this was going to happen, but it's okay though, because just literally swap the picks. So who I had going to the Knicks at 27, I just now have going to the Knicks at 23, and same with the Utah Jazz at pick 23. I have that same player going at 27 and keep the 38th pick the same as well. Also, the Onyeka Okongwu news, I'm not going to change that, so I still have him going where I said in this mock. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Boys, we're finally here. The draft is actually tonight. We were supposed to get this draft back in June, and it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, but the day is finally here. It is November 18th. The 2020 NBA draft is tonight. So without further ado, here's my official 2020 NBA mock draft. This is going to be my first 2-round mock draft ever. Yes, I'm doing 60 picks today, both rounds. I'm predicting no trades to happen, and I'm sure after I upload this video, a trade will happen. Like last year, I remember I uploaded my mock draft, and then an hour later, the Suns traded from 6 to 11. So I'm sure something's gonna happen because there's been so many rumors about like Boston moving up, Minnesota trying to move back up, like Atlanta moving down, maybe Chicago moving down, Washington moving up. There's been so many rumors, so I'm sure a trade is gonna happen. Also, it is so hard to predict a perfect mock draft. This is not what I would do. This is what I think the teams will do. I'm making 60 picks here. If I can get like 5 to 7 right, I will be happy with that. If you could drop a like on the mock draft, I would really appreciate that. This is one of my favorite videos to make, my draft day mock draft. Also, around 6:30, I will be live streaming the full first round on the channel, so make sure you come around, say hi. I'm going to be giving you my live reactions to the draft. It's going to be super fun. And hey, without further ado, let's get into the mock. So with the first overall pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves are selecting LaMelo Ball out of the NBL in Australia. Now, this is not what I would do. I would go the wing player from Georgia, but I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are locked in on LaMelo Ball. I don't know if he's going to be a good fit. I've been kind of scared of the fit of D'Lo and LaMelo Ball in the backcourt, especially on the defensive end and even on the offensive end. Both the guys really don't play all that off ball. They like to have the ball in their hands. So I just don't know if it's really going to coexist, but hey, he's the best player in the draft. You might as well take the best player and then you figure it out down the line. So with the first pick in the 2020 NBA draft, I'm going to have the Timberwolves select LaMelo Ball. Moving on to pick 2 now, we have the Golden State Warriors selecting somebody that just makes total sense for their starting lineup. It is James Wiseman, the center out of Memphis. They have their point guard in Steph, their shooting guard in Clay, their small forward in Wiggins, their power forward in Draymond Green. Why not get that rim protecting center that they can complete their starting 5 with James Wiseman, who has the capability of being able to be kind of a stretch 5 down the line. He showed that he could shoot the ball a little bit in high school and a little bit at Memphis as well. And with that player development staff, he could definitely develop an outside shot. He's crazy athletic. He's got a great size and frame. He's got a great vertical jump. He's great at catching lobs. He's great at rebounding. He's great at blocking shots. I think this is kind of a no-brainer pick for Golden State at pick 2. On to Charlotte now for pick 3. I don't think they're trading this pick at all for Russell Westbrook. They already came out and said they're not doing that. So I'm going to have them select Anthony Edwards, the wing out of Georgia. Now, if you asked anybody like a month ago that you think Anthony Edwards could fall all the way to 3, you would have kind of been like, I don't think that's happening. But there's been reports that the Timberwolves want LaMelo, the Warriors want Wiseman, so this makes total sense for the Hornets at 3. Wing and center are probably their 2 most weakest positions on their team. At point guard or primary ball handler, they have Devontae Graham as Terry Rozier. At power forward and even at small forward, they kind of have Miles Bridges and PJ Washington. So then plugging in Anthony Edwards at that 2 next to their point guard, I think would be a very good fit. I think they should still trade for Russell Westbrook after this draft and run a backcourt of Anthony Edwards and Russell Westbrook. I think that with that, you can compete for a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. He has shooting potential. He has defensive potential. And in this day and age, if you're a wing that could shoot and play defense, you're going to be very valuable. Now, this is where the draft is just like, I don't know. This has been like the first draft in a long time that we honestly don't even know who the number 1 pick is going to be in the drafts tomorrow. So you asking me who I think is going to be at 4? It could be like 6 different guys. It could be Killian Hayes. It could be Tyrese Haliburton. It could be Obi Toppin. It could be Isaac Okoro. It could be Patrick Williams. But I'm going to go with Denny Avdija out of Maccabi Tel Aviv here at 4. I think like in a positional fit, this makes the most sense grabbing a wing because they have their primary ball handler in Kobe White. They have Zach LaVine who they're playing next to him. And over to the front court, they have Wendell Carter Jr. at the 5 and Lauri Markkanen at the 4. And now small forward is up in the air like Denzel Valentine. It looks like they're bringing back, but he's probably not the answer there for the future. Otto Porter's in the final year of his deal as well. So I think grabbing a wing makes the most sense for Chicago. Danny Avdija is a polarizing prospect because he really didn't show that he's a great shooter. In Israel, he's not a good free throw shooter, and that is the big thing for European players and really just collegiate players in general. If you can't hit your free throws as like a wing or a guard, it's kind of hard to think that you'll be a good shooter in the NBA. Because if you look at good shooters in the NBA, they're all good from the line. And if you look at bad free throw shooters, not a lot of those guys are good at shooting the ball. Yes, there's a couple outliers, like maybe LeBron James is one. But for Denny, that scares me. But I do like his IQ for his age. I think he's an incredible smart basketball player. He's got great vision. He's a good rebounder. He plays with a high motor. He's passionate. And he's a good ball handler as well. And I'm going to have him going to the Bulls at pick 4. Like Chicago, there could be so many different picks here at 5 to Cleveland. But I'm going with the player that played in Ohio at collegiate ball last year at Dayton. I'm going with Obi Toppin, the Naismith Player of the Year in 2020. I don't expect them to go after a guard, having spending their last 2 top 10 picks on guards in 2018 and 2019. I think that they would love Denny here because their front court is also kind of like finalized for next year, at least starting with Kevin Love at the 4 and Drummond at the 5. So Denny would make a lot of sense, but I think Obi Toppin could be the guy. He is the best player that came out of college last year since he won the Naismith Award. The only knock on him, or the big knock on him, is his defense and the fact that he's a 22-year-old sophomore. So he is getting up there in age already. And by the end of his rookie contract, he'll be 26 years old. When you look at LaMelo Ball, he'll be like 23. But I do like Obi Toppin as a player, and I think this would be a smart pick for the Cavs at 5. Moving on to Atlanta now for pick 6. I was back and forth between 2 players, but I ended up going with the combo guard Tyrese Halliburton out of Iowa State. He actually might have the highest basketball IQ in this draft. He's an incredible smart player. I've heard that he's a great person as well. All the characteristics traits check out. The background check. All of that. He's a fantastic ball handler. He's good in transition. He could shoot. He could play defense. He could play off ball on offense and on defense. And a lot of analysts are saying that he's kind of a perfect player. Now, he's not perfect in every sense of each skill set. Like, he's not having the shooting of Steph Curry and the athleticism of LeBron, but he kind of checks out in all of them at a good level. And he kind of is the most complete player in this draft. I've been going 6 to Atlanta to be kind of Trae Young's backcourt partner next year. Now, pick 7, I had 2 completely different players up until yesterday, but apparently Detroit is really eyeing Patrick Williams, the forward out of Florida State. I thought this could be Killian Hayes. I thought this could be Nneka Okongwu or Isaac Okoro at 7, but apparently Detroit loves Patrick Williams, and I do too. He's a stretch 4 out of Florida State who could play defense and can shoot. You know how valuable having a player that can guard 3, 4s, and 5s on the defensive end at a good level while also being able to knock down a 3-point shot? That is so valuable in the NBA. He can also learn to develop behind Blake Griffin. He could be a good mentor for him, and then they can kind of roll out, once Blake Griffin's gone, a Christian Wood and Patrick Williams frontcourt, which I can get behind. I just don't know if I love the fit with Christian Wood and Sekou Doumbouya, who was their lottery pick last year going forward. They'll have to work that out, though. Now, here my Knicks are on the board at pick 8. There is a couple other players that I would like them to select over this player, but I wouldn't be mad with this, and I think this is what they're going to do. I have them taking another Florida State player, yes, back-to-back, Devin Vassell at pick 8. Now, you might be like, man, you really don't think they would take Isaac Okoro over Vassell? And I really don't, because Okoro is definitely a better defensive player than Devin Vassell, but Devin Vassell is a better offensive player than Isaac Okoro. And I think that's pretty clear-cut, and I think the Knicks are valuing a scoring and a little bit defensive potential wing to play next to RJ Barrett going forward. And I think what the pre-draft workouts have been going and the meetings and what I've been hearing, that they do like Devin Vassell as like the top wing in this draft in their eyes, or especially who's going to be there at pick 8. Moving on to 9 now, this is the most perfect selection for Washington if he falls all the way to 9. I could see them even trading up in the draft if they feel like Detroit or New York will take him, but I don't think New York will. And that is Nneka Okongwu, the big man out of USC. He's athletic. He's got a great frame. He can block shots. He's efficient inside the paint. He's a smart player. He plays with a high motor, and Washington could use an upgrade down the line at center. Yes, they have Thomas Bryant, who I do like, but not really as a starting center when you're trying to compete in the Eastern Conference. I think Okongwu's potential is definitely higher than where Thomas Bryant was coming out of Indiana, and I think this could be a huge upgrade for Washington. They kind of need to make out on this pick Rui Hachimura was solid last year, and I think he'll be a solid player throughout his career, but I don't think he's like superstar potential good. And with paying Bradley Beal all this money, John Wall, they're going to have to re-sign Davis Bertans. They're not going to have a lot of money in free agency to bring somebody in, so they kind of need to hit on their draft picks, and I have them taking a Okongwu at 9. Moving on to 10 for Phoenix, I had them taking a point guard until the Chris Paul trade, but with the Chris Paul trade completed, I have them going Isaac Okoro, the wing out of Auburn. I think this would be perfect for them as they have their point guard in Chris Paul, they have their shooting guard in Devin Booker. The wings and kind of the power forward spot is kind of up in the air. Yes, they have Cam Johnson, they can play at the 4, and Mikal Bridges can definitely guard power forwards, so this kind of leaves Isaac Okoro to be potentially their starting small forward next year, who would be huge for them because they already have their offense coming out of Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, getting a great defensive player and who I think is the best perimeter defender in this draft, Isaac Okoro at 10, is fantastic value. Coming in at number 11, the San Antonio Spurs. It's weird to mention them in the lottery, first time in a while, so I have them taking Aaron Nesmith, the wing out of Vanderbilt. With DeMar DeRozan opting in, I don't know if he will end up getting traded this offseason. Some people are rumoring him going to LA, but with them getting Shooter, that's probably off the table, but he could still definitely get traded. And I'm going to have them looking forward post DeMar DeRozan era and taking Aaron Nesmith over taking like a potential guard. I know there's a good one on the board. He'll go next. But yeah, with the crowded backcourt with Bryn Forbes, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, Patrick Mills, there's just a lot of guys in that backcourt that I don't think they would take a guard here at 11. So with Nesmith, he is one of the best, if not the best, shooting small forward in this draft. He's good off the dribble. He's good moving off screens, catch and shoot. He's a fantastic shooter. The Spurs need some offensive help, especially off the bench, and I think Aaron Nesmith would be huge for them. Moving over to 12, this is somebody that I could have had as high as 4. The ranges in this draft for some players are kind of astonishing. I have Killian Hayes out of Germany, the guard, going to Sacramento at 12. So Sacramento just traded away Bogdan Bogdanovic for mainly in return Dante DiVincenzo, who is pretty much a shooting guard. I do expect them to trade Buddy Hield this offseason, so I think they're going to go forward with trying to find that guy that could fit so well with De'Aaron Fox. I don't know if this will be a great fit. I just think if he's on the board, they would go Killian Hayes. The lefty, you could say combo guard. He has great vision. He's a fantastic ball handler. He's got a great shot in him. He's young. He definitely needs to grow a little bit more in the NBA, but I think at 12, this is a very good value pick for Sacramento. Second and last pick of the lottery here, I have the New Orleans Pelicans selecting the wing out of Villanova, Saddiq Bey. They just traded away Drew Holiday. Now they have kind of a crowded point guarded backcourt in George Hill, Eric Bledsoe, Lonzo Ball, Frank Jackson. So I always really like Kyra Lewis here, but with them picking up Bledsoe and Hill, I don't think they'll go with another ball handler. So getting Saddiq Bey provides you a nice 3-and-D option off the bench to improve that bench. You can allow Nickeil Alexander-Walker to still get the starting shooting guard minutes. And let Saddiq Bey run the second unit with probably Lonzo Ball if Eric Bledsoe's going to start for them. I also think when Brandon Ingram's not in, he would be a very nice fit next to Zion Williamson. And then finally, the last pick of the lottery is going to be Jalen Smith, the big man out of Maryland, going to the Boston Celtics. The Celtics, they need a center. They need a big man that could be their rim protector and grab rebounds pretty much, as they already have their scoring, their playmaking out of their wings and point guards. You could make an argument for Precious Achiuwa here, but I think they would go Jalen Smith just because I think he's a better 5 than Achiuwa. I really don't know. I think Achiuwa's best position is a 5, but I think that is a little uncertain. So Jalen Smith is a safe pick here at 14. But if I had to bet, I don't think the Celtics are here on draft night. I think they either make a trade to move up or to move down. So now that the lottery is out of the way, not a lot of these next 46 picks are going to be pretty accurate. So we're going to go with them a little bit quicker. I'm going to give kind of like one reason why I think they could take him. And I would be happy if I got like 2 post-lottery picks right. And with the first pick out of the lottery, I have the Orlando Magic taking the point guard out of Alabama, Kyra Lewis Jr. My reasoning is that they could use another ball handler with DJ Augustine gone. Markelle Fultz was very good last year for what he was, and he will continue to get better, but why not get somebody that could definitely help you on the second unit, especially on the offensive end. I know it says point 1 on your screen, but this pick belongs to the Houston Rockets from the Robert Covington trade. I have them taking Tyrese Maxey, the guard out of Kentucky. I just think they're going to look for scoring, especially scoring that can come off that second unit if they still have Russ and James Harden. He won't be starting over those guys, obviously, but if he can help run that second unit, be a nice spark off the bench, that would be huge for Houston. At 17, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. This pick is from the Brooklyn Nets trade, or in reality, it's from the 4-team trade, from the trade deadline, from the Hawks, and basically the Hawks got it from the Allen Crabbe salary dump last offseason, so the Nets could clear up cap space to sign KD and Kyrie. It goes a while back. But yeah, I have them taking Precious Achiuwa out of Memphis. I think this could be a perfect draft for them if they get LaMelo Ball and Precious Achiuwa. Mainly, I think they need somebody that they could play next to Karl Anthony Towns. at the 4 position. And I think that would have been Jalen Smith, but I have him already going to Boston. So I had Precious Achiuwa there. Throughout Cat's 5 years in the NBA, or since 2015, his best power forward has been what? Dario Saric, Taj Gibson. They could use somebody that can actually blossom to a very good player. Like somebody better than Dario Saric, who is a good player, next to Cat. Coming in at 18, I have the Dallas Mavericks selecting Josh Green, somebody who has 3-and-D potential, kind of like Saddiq Bey, who I said went to the Pelicans. Josh Green could be a pretty good spot-up shooter down the line for Luka Doncic, who's obviously going to be their primary ball handler for a long, long time, but he could be a nice spot-up shooter surrounding Luka with another good guy. 19, I have the Brooklyn Nets selecting RJ Hampton out of the NBL, who didn't really have a great season last year, but he is a project, and I think he could be a very good player in the NBA, and I read reports that the Nets are kind of looking to the future with this pick. If they do stay at 19, then they don't trade it away. I heard RJ Hampton, Jaden McDaniels, project players that they can kind of help develop over time, help learn from Kyrie and KD, and kind of be the main part of the franchise going forward once those two guys are gone. Coming in at pick 20, I have the Miami Heat selecting Desmond Bane, a guard out of TCU. Bane has been a huge riser over the last couple of weeks because he has been lights out in his pre-draft workouts, especially in the shooting aspect. Miami is a great player development staff. I think I would really like them getting Precious Achiuwa here, or Jalen Smith, but I don't think both those guys, or even one of them, falls to pick 20. So I think that getting Desmond Bane, arguably the best shooter still on the board here, would be a huge pickup for the reigning Eastern Conference champions. 21, I have Philadelphia taking a point guard. Yes, they kind of need one if they're going to move Ben Simmons, and we'll see if they make a trade with Al Horford, Tobias Harris, Josh Richardson, and Peter Simmons. Who knows what's going to happen with Philly over these next couple of weeks, but I have them taking Tyrell Terry, the point guard out of Stanford. If you look at numbers from last year, Tyrell Terry might be the best shooting guard in this draft, or I mean kind of shooting overall guard, not a shooting guard, because you could say he's a point guard. He's up there with Desmond Bane and like Marcus Howard for one of the best shooters in this draft. He's an incredible shooter out of Stanford. He's a solid defender. He's a good ball handler. He's 6'3". He's got a good size in him. I think this would be a great pick for Philly at 21. Now moving on to pick 22, this has been known that Denver wants this guy, Alexis Pukaveski, at pick 22. The power forward / center combo guy out of the Greece under-18 league. Man, I'm starting to get old. I'm drafting players here in this mock draft that I'm older than by 2-3 years. Like Pukaveski was born in 2001. Man, I'm getting old. But yeah, you know that Denver really likes drafting their foreign guys. They've done it in the past with Nikola Jokic, Yusuf Nurkic, and I think they can go Pukaveski if he's on the board at 22. Coming in at 23, I have the Utah Jazz selecting Jaden McDaniels, the forward out of Washington. I personally wouldn't do this. I think he's a project player, and the Jazz kind of need help right now, especially scoring wings off the bench. I wouldn't go Jaden McDaniels, but I've heard a lot of reports that the Jazz will target Jaden if he's on the board at 23. Moving on to 24, you see it on your screen, it's Milwaukee, but this pick belongs to the Pelicans. I have them taking Daniel Oturu out of Minnesota. Now you might be like, Matt, you have Oturu going over Vernon Carey, Zeke Naji, Udoka Azubuike. Yeah, I do. I've heard that teams really like Daniel Oturu out of Minnesota. I think New Orleans could be looking for a backup center if Derek Favors is to not come back, and he could be their backup center behind Jackson Hayes next year. At 25, this is the first Thunder pick in the first round. I have them taking Leandro Balmaro, the forward out of Barcelona. Now, we all kind of know that the Thunder are going to be bad next year. Leandro Balmaro is going to stay overseas for at least 1 year, so it's not like that they have to develop him over here. He's going to develop over there in Barcelona, and I think this would be a great pick for them going forward because they don't need a player to win now going into next year. They can let somebody be overseas for a year and then let him come over in 2022. At 26, I have the Boston Celtics with their second pick here in the first round, taking Paul Reed out of DePaul. A great rebounder, a great shot blocker, a great scorer inside. I think landing Jalen Smith and Paul Reed with your first 2 round picks for the Celtics really kind of solves that center problem if they don't want to go out and make a big trade or try to get creative with cap space in free agency or a sign and trade with Gordon Hayward. This could be a nice duo for them in the draft. At 27, I have the New York Knicks with their second first round pick here, selecting Cole Anthony, the point guard out of North Carolina. To be honest, you might call me crazy. I really like Cole Anthony. I wouldn't be upset if the Knicks took him at pick 8. I'm very surprised, but according to Bleacher Report, The Athletic, ESPN, Chad Ford, they all think that Cole Anthony is going to go from 20 to 30. I really like him. I think he's one of the better point guards in this draft. Like, I prefer him over Tyrell Terry and Tyrese Maxey and RJ Hampton, but that is just my opinion. But with 27 on the board, Cole Anthony is still there. I think the Knicks would go Cole, especially if they don't take a point guard at pick 8. Coming in at 28, it says the Lakers on your screen, but this is the Thunder pick from the Dennis Schroeder trade. I have them taking Theo Maledon, a point guard out of France. And like Jaden McDaniels, he is a project player. But for the Thunder, not like the Jazz, this is okay because they're a developing team. so he can kind of stay here. I know he wants to come to the NBA right away, but I think NBA teams want him to stay overseas and develop like Balmaro's doing. But even if he's going to go through that rookie phase and he struggles, that's okay because the Thunder are a developing team. They're young. They're not supposed to be good right away, so I think they'll go Theo at 28. At 29, it was down to a couple guys for the Raptors. I have them taking Robert Woodyard out of Mississippi State. A forward that could score and play defense. I think that would just be all that Toronto wants. I wouldn't be surprised if they look at a big man here with possibly Serge Ibaka leaving. They're not going to bring maybe Marcus Sol back. Who knows if Chris Boucher is going to get paid by another team. So I could see them going after like a Zeke Naji or Vernon Carrier, but they might wait to move up in the second round to do that. And then finally, with the last pick in the first round, the Celtics' third pick here in the first round, I have them taking Malachi Flynn, a point guard out of San Diego State. Like Desmond Bane and Tyrell Terry, he's been a huge draft riser I've heard over the last couple of weeks. He's a smart guard with a good handle, a good shot, and I think the Celtics could use a better backup point guard down the line. Brad Wanamaker isn't getting any younger, and they could use for an upgrade sometime soon. So yeah, that is it for my first round mock draft. Now I'm going to show you my second round picks here. This is something I've never done before, but I was like, you know what? Let's do a second round this year. You can see the picks on your screen now. I'm not going to go into each second round pick. I'm only going to go into like a couple that I think are pretty interesting. First one is Isaiah Joe going to the Sixers at 34. Apparently Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report, apparently he knows that the Sixers promised that they're going to, Isaiah Joe, that they're going to draft him either at 21 or at 34, and I think 34 makes a lot more sense. At pick 40, I have the Memphis Grizzlies selecting Nico Mannion, kind of a value pick for them there, and yeah, you might be like, man, you have him going 40? He should go in the first round. I don't think Nico's going to go that high. I expect Grant Riller to go above him. I think Trey Jones will go above them. Theo Maledon, Cole Anthony, Tyler Terry, I think they're all going to go above Nico Mannion. At pick 46, I have Portland taking Udoka Azubuike, and I really like this pick because obviously they have Yusuf Nurkic as their starting center next year, but with Whiteside being a free agent, hey, try to grab your guy that can get the backup center minutes next year. And the last pick I'll talk about is at pick 55, the Nets selecting Marcus Howard. I feel like this is just a Nets pick here because they're going to be good next year. You can kind of take a flyer on this pick, a risky decision here. People don't even think Marcus Howard could get drafted. He was one of the best scorers at Marquette or just in college basketball in general for the last couple of years. And hey, if he pans out to be a good scorer in the NBA, hey, you hit the lottery at 55, Brooklyn. So yeah, that is going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed my official 2020 mock draft. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Also, I would really appreciate it if you drop the like on this video. Like I said, I will be live streaming my draft reactions, my full first round draft reactions later tonight at around 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So be on the lookout for that. I would really appreciate it if you came out and joined the stream. But yeah, I'm just excited that the draft is finally here. It's been such a long time. I'm just very excited, as you can tell. But yeah, that's going to be for me. Thank you all for watching. I love you guys. I hope I can see you guys at the live stream later today. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.